And today we'll be diving in the enchanting world of Magic the Gathering, going over a unique card type called curses. So let's start with the basic concept of curses. Curse cards are a type of enchantment card that when you play, targets a player and player only. You will know it's a curse card by two reasons. One, it will say in the center of the card, aura curse, and it will also say in the actual text box itself, it will say enchant target player. So what does it mean to target a player? The easiest way to explain this is when you pay the mana for the card and you put it down, you read what it says. Most people that play Magic Gathering long enough will get to know a few cards, but you kind of hand it to them and they put it somewhere on their board. A lot of people put it in the corners or just slightly out of where they usually play, but depending on your play group is how you think. And then when it says, whatever the card says, happens. Sometimes the curse just solely affects them, but there are also curses that help you and the other opponents. There are some cards like if you attack the person that's cursed, you get a treasure, but it also works for your two opponents, so they're more likely to attack the person that's cursed. There are a lot of effects that happen with curses, and this is what I really love about them. There's so many unique things they can do, so let's go over some of them. So majority of them have a various negative effect on that opponent. There's many different forms that these curses really come in. Some might, for example, force that cursed player to discard cards. Some might also do damage to them depending what you do. And then there's other ones that kind of neglect them from playing certain card types or playing cards faster. There's many things these cards do. The best way to kind of describe these are they're like hexes on the person. But my favorite thing when it comes to these curses is it doesn't only restrict to one. If you put multiple curses in your deck and you play and you curse one of your opponents, you can keep cursing that opponent. It doesn't matter. When I first decided to play this game and learn about curses and stuff, I originally thought that if a player is cursed, they are cursed. You cannot add any more curses, but it's really cool that you can go, yeah, my next turn I will give you another curse and another, and then here's one for you and here's one for you, and you want two, you want two, you want three. Great cards. So there's a lot of different curses in this game, so I'm just actually going to give you an example of a few, and here they are on screen. Cruel Reality, Curse of Echoes, Curse of Silence. So you're probably wondering, what happens if I get cursed? Or what can your opponent do if they're cursed? Can curses be broken? Yes. Yes, they can. There's many ways to kind of remove curses, but I will give you a few examples. You can move the enchanted player out the game completely. So when they're actually lost their games, their life total becomes 0. They are out and you get all your curses back and they go into exile. If someone plays a curse on you, you can counter it if you're a blue player. Oh, there's other counters in other colours, but you're known as a blue player if you counter. You know who you are. There is also multiple cards, mainly in green, that just destroy an enchantment, and since they are enchantment or curses, since it says the word enchantment, you can target the curse attached to you or an opponent. And then there is probably the hardest way, making yourself hexproof, which means you cannot be targeted by spells or abilities. I think abilities too. Here are a few examples on screen now. Witchbane Orb, Negate, Fracturing Gust. Curses can be powerful when it comes to playing Magic the Gathering, but you need to think strategically. When it comes to putting these type of cards in, if you find a curse you want to put in, I also recommend finding cards that roughly do the same, because sometimes the curse is the best version of that, but there's also cards that roughly do the same, so you might want to put them in instead, but the same works around the other way. But you might find a really good card and you want to put in the curse version instead. So when it comes to putting these type of cards in, you have to think kind of the risk and reward. Do you play in your play group with a lot of people that have Enchantment to Hate? Then put in maybe the sorcery version. But then also if you play with a lot of blue players, put in the curse may also help. So it's kind of how you want to build your deck around them. But I always do recommend, if you know a curse, or look up a curse version of the cards in your deck. But if you're also interested in Making a curse deck, there is a really good commander that I'll show on screen now. Lion D Cheerful Tormentor. For 1 blue, black and a red, you get a legendary creature, human warlock that is a mythic. She has Death Touch. Whenever a curse is put into an opponent's graveyard from the battlefield, return it to the battlefield attached to you at the beginning of your next end step. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may attach a curse attached to you to one of your opponents. If you do, draw 2 cards and she's a 2/4. In conclusion, I find curses are very intriguing and really good to have in decks because of kind of the twist it adds into the game. Now when it comes to this, wizards do always try to put a new mechanic in or a new ability, and very rarely, in my opinion, they put in something that is quite good. The last one being Mutate. In my honest god, I love Mutate so much, but I did find curses very interesting. They kind of changed the game a little bit, not much, but it gives you that unique ability because there is those times where someone plays an enchantment and hands it to you and you kind of just remember that they're a thing and go, oh yeah, how am I going to get rid of this? I never thought of getting cards in my deck to get rid of these type of cards. But again, with Magic the Gathering, there's always 2 sides of a coin. I do recommend, if you are building a deck, to just have a look and then decide on a base depending on what your deck wants to do. These cards are definitely not a must-have in all your decks. There's some cards that do not benefit from them at all, and some actually make the deck worse. However, I do find it, because of that unique ability, because of how they are played differently than most cards, that it gives some games that little bit of fun, so I do think they are worth putting in. But as always, let me know in the comments down below if you have a favorite curse. Let me know if you learned anything in this class, and while you're down there, remember to like, subscribe and follow me on all my social media, and I'll see you all in the next video. Also, if you like this Commander class, I have last week's Commander class here, a playlist with all the Commander classes here, and a subscribe button here.